Today we're going to talk about why lots of busy professionals and busy parents and people over 30 can't lose weight or really struggle to lose weight. So there's a few different factors in this. A lot of it comes from a lack of structure. So you're busy, you almost just, instead of taking the time to really get yourself set up and know how your diet is set up and get into that routine with structure, you tend to ad-lib a bit more. Like I say, you're busy, it tends to be, you're going into a shop, you're quickly picking something up for your lunch, it's breakfast time, oh, don't know what to eat, what's in the fridge, and it really seems like it's very haphazard, and it's not necessarily your fault because you are busy. There's a lot of other things you need to account for. This is why having structure and why I really preach about having meal plans, and especially sample meal plans. And that's what I do on the Strong Again program, is I will give you some sample meal plans so you can see this in action. But basically, I want you to, for the most part, know what you're going to eat every day, and we keep it simple and we keep it repeatable. This way, you know on your busy days, so it doesn't have to be done every day. When you've got a day off, you can mix things up a little bit. Feel free to do that. But on your busiest days, I want you to know exactly what you're eating and when you're eating it. So then when you go shopping, so say for argument's sake, your breakfast is going to be an omelette. You know you need enough eggs for the week in the fridge, and you need whatever it is you're putting in the omelette. So say it's some ham, say it's some peppers. You know you need enough eggs for the week, enough peppers for the week, and enough ham for the week. Done. It's in the fridge. Part of your morning routine. You get in the kitchen, you quickly make it, because an omelette is very quick to make. I preach sort of quick options for breakfast especially, and it's there and it fits your macros. You don't have to then, on MyFitnessPal or the apps that we use to track calories, you don't then have to every single time put every single ingredient in when you're busy. You can save that meal and it's just repeatable on the app. So you don't have to spend lots of time cooking, you don't have to spend lots of time thinking about what you're going to eat, and you don't have to spend lots of time tracking. So that is one of the biggest things, is a lack of structure for busy people. Another thing is, people over 30, for some reason, are really susceptible to fad diets and new diet trends. Now, it always used to be sort of the slightly older generation, it would be whatever's on the front of a magazine or in the paper. There'll be a new dietary approach, and then they would suddenly jump on that. And then they would take on that fad diet. May work in the short term, but it won't work long term because you can't stick to it. And then you fall off the wagon, maybe you put weight back on or even a bit more. Then the next fad diet comes along, you jump on that, and the cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats. So I don't know what the reason is, but for some reason, people over 30 are really susceptible to fad diets. We see it all the time. People 1 minute, they're keto, then they're low fat, then they're vegan, then they're carnivore, then they're paleo, Atkins. I mean, there's so many that have been around. Shake diets, we've all seen those, Special K diets, all this rubbish. And people tend to get hooked and they jump from one to another. And then, like I say, it's not sustainable for the long term. You don't then have the structure, and again, it'll all just fall apart. So lack of structure, falling for fad diets, and then when it comes to a training perspective, for some reason, people in that slightly like over 30, middle-aged sort of time, especially females, tend to get drawn into the cardio cycle of training. You need cardiovascular fitness, but what you don't want to do is go to the gym or buy a stationary bike and just pound away nice and easy for a long period of time, doing hours and hours of cardio. It's not the most efficient way to do it, and it's not the way you're going to get the best results. What we really want is some strength training, and we want some intense sessions. So I want you to really get that heart rate up. I want you to really push your muscles hard, And it doesn't have to be a long session. So instead of spending an hour, hour and a half just on the treadmill, on the cross trainer, watching the TV in the gym, what I want you to do is sort of anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes. Doesn't have to be long, but we're going to be lifting some weights and we're going to be doing it in a more intense fashion, short rest periods, so we really get the most out of it. We're really building some muscle, we're burning fat, and we're improving that body composition. People, like I say, make that mistake from a training front. So those are the top 3 things. Another thing is lack of sleep, sort of poor sleep quality. Now, I understand busy parents, busy professionals, you are busy. You may be working late, you may be up with kids late, you have to be up early with children or for work. So I understand personally, like I run my own business, which I start work early. I've got 2 young children, both notoriously really bad sleepers. I tend to do all the night times, and I could be up and down 4 or 5 times a night, plus getting up early. So I understand you can't always get that 7 to 9 hours sleep. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had 7 to 9 hours sleep. You probably can't either. But what we can do is, no matter what amount of sleep you get, so whether it's 5 hours, it's 6 hours, we just want to make it as good quality as possible. So you may not get the 9 hours sleep. You know, not many people who are busy or, you know, lead busy lives can do that. But what we want to do is, whatever it is, 4 to 6 hours, make it as good quality as possible. So ways that we can do that is something called the 3-2-1 method, which is don't eat 3 hours before bed, so you're not digesting food when you're trying to sleep. Don't drink 2 hours before bed, so then hopefully we're not waking up needing to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. And no blue lights 1 hour before bed. So that's your TVs, your laptops, your tablets, your phone, that sort of thing. So ideally within that last hour, you can go full relaxation mode and just have a candle on and relax in your room. That works well, but more common is to read a book. So read a book, keep the lights sort of fairly low. If you can do it sort of candlelight or a little desktop light, all the better, because the blue lights will stimulate the hormones in your body that help to wake you up, basically. And what we don't want to do is obviously do that before bed. Another tactic is caffeine. So caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. So if you're having a coffee 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that caffeine is still in your body, half of it is still in your coffee in 6 hours time. So it's still in your body when you're trying to go to sleep. And even if you get to sleep, caffeine will disrupt getting into a deep sleep. So again, it's something, ideally you sort of cut it off by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Some people do it at 12, midday. Play around with it, see how you get on, but try not to go after 2 o'clock. So those are some real pointers and real top tips as to why people struggle to lose weight over 30. It's nothing to do with your metabolism slowing down. That is one of those things that is completely overblown. It's not really a thing. What people tend to do when they're over 30 is they become less active, you know, sedentary jobs, playing sport less, going to the gym less. We tend to be more stressed over 30, and you just tend to have a lot more going on. You tend to, like I say, with the lack of structure with food, you're not eating as well as you could. So these are the things that cause the symptoms that people will just say, it's your metabolism slowing down. It's not. There's plenty of people who are over 30, over 40, over 50, who are in really good shape because they look after these things. So I hope you found that video useful. If you did, and you want to make some real changes and you want to look into joining my Strong Again program, just message me on Instagram. The link is in the description. If you message me on Instagram with the word ready, then what we can do is we can have a little chat. We can chat through the options. I can let you know more about the program, and we can just see if it's a good fit for you. But until next time, put those sort of little pointers in place and see if it makes a difference for you.